I will be showing how to make chorizo, which is basically Mexican sausage. Now this is very versatile. You could use it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So this is a staple in our house when I want to do something quick and easy. All the directions, instructions I will leave in the description box so you have an easy access to all the ingredients and steps. I like to prepare in bulk, but you can always cut the recipe in half. So we're going to use some chile guajillo, some chicken bouillon, cayenne pepper, paprika, some ground cloves, some cinnamon, cumin, oregano, garlic powder, and also some coriander, which is basically bolted cilantro from the garden. And I forgot, but we also will need black pepper and some fresh garlic. I'm going to start up by cutting up the guajillo just with my hands. You could use gloves if you want to. I am used to this, so I won't. And we're gonna do 1 tablespoon of coriander, 2 tablespoons of cumin, 1 tablespoon of black whole pepper, and 6 cups of steaming water, or 1.5 quarts of water. Now we are going to add the fresh garlic in here, and we want to submerge all the chilies so they're nice and soaked, and we're going to let them soak while we grind our meat. But I forgot to add the vinegar in this recipe, so you could add it at this point. So we're just going to cover it up and set it apart, and we're going to start on the meat. Now I use my pork shoulder to make carnitas, so I try to save this part right here for the carnitas, but you could absolutely use the entire pork shoulder. You will just have more of a high fat content on your chorizo, and I prefer a leaner cut of beef for the chorizo. Now I am just grinding the pork shoulder on my biggest setting. I don't do it super fine. I still like to have a nice bite to it. And I've tried making chorizo without my big grinder. You could absolutely do it. It's not going to be as refined as using a grinder, but I always try to learn how to do it without the equipment first. But you could absolutely do it. It just takes some work, making sure you get everything nice and diced. So once the meat is done grinding, you are going to put all your chilies in your blender and blend away. Make sure that it's very well blended because you want to get all the whole peppercorns and all of the herbs very nice and processed. Now we are going to use a sift. Make sure you get all that sauce through the sift as much as you can. So I like to blend all my whole ingredients together and then use the powder at the very end so that I don't lose any powder of my ingredients while sifting. So here we are, 3 tablespoons of chicken bouillon, 1 tablespoon of paprika, 1 tablespoon of cayenne, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. And I only have ground cloves, so we're going to do 1 teaspoon of ground cloves and 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And we're also gonna need 1 tablespoon of ground oregano. Now I take it in my hands and I crush it with my hands before mixing it. That way you don't have large amounts of whole oregano. Now for this one, you will probably need gloves. You could do it with a spoon, but using your hands will be faster. So I do use gloves for this part. And you want to make sure that it's very well incorporated. Taste it if you need a little bit more salt. And here is where I add the vinegar, 1 cup of vinegar that I forgot to add it while I was soaking my chiles. Now I did need to put a little bit more salt, so salt to taste, or you could always salt it while you are cooking it. Now I have a very hungry little kid who couldn't wait for me to finish marinating the meat. You want to make sure that you put it in the fridge for at least 3 to 5 hours so that it marinates, and then you could put it in your freezer So this was our little snack that we had because my child was hungry, waiting for me to finish making all of this beef. So now I am going to vacuum seal, and I am doing different sizes because sometimes I mix it with egg or like hashed potatoes, but and other times I do it as a main source of protein. So I'm doing different sizes. We did 13, almost 14 pounds of chorizo. But this recipe is good for 10 to 15 pounds. You could use this recipe for. I have it all packaged up already, and we're going to set it in the freezer. I am doing overnight because it was like 11 at night. So I'm doing overnight and then put it in the freezer in the next morning. And this is called tortas. It is chorizo in a French bread with refried beans and lettuce, tomato, and all the goodness. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you guys on the next one.